Hi friends, good morning. Welcome to Vlogmas day 4. Today's day 4. Today is December 7th. Today's Wednesday, December 7th. It is currently 5:30 in the morning and I am popping on to record a little bit of a chit chat as we open day 4 of my Nest Advent. I will show you how day 3 finished. You guys might notice we're going to be hanging out with a different spinning wheel today. Foxtail, that's not Foxtail, Meadow had a bit of an injury and requires some TLC, and we don't want to talk about it because I've had several meltdowns already. So Meadow's having a bit of a timeout while we get her some TLC, and then when she's back and up and running, we'll be fine. But on the bright side, I have another wheel. So I ended up finishing my day 3 spin on my Lendrum, and I will show that to you. I just realized that I got to turn my lights up so you can actually see what's going on. BRB. Okay, lights are a little bit brighter. I'm experimenting a bit with my lighting setup. I took a lighting clinic at a photography store in the city yesterday, and a lot of their tips are designed for more conventional like YouTube channels where you don't really need to see product placement, and I figured I would try to adapt some of them. So we're gonna tweak some things because I really want to get that like fun cinematic type of video, which doesn't always lend itself to the type of filming that we do as crafters. So we're going to tweak a few things to see how it works. I like this a lot more than what I had, but we're going to refine it. So anyways, this is what day 3 looked like. And it was the Targi. And also we're working with tiny Lendrum bobbins today. So we're going to pop this onto my Lendrum and we're going to get to work. I thought today, because it's Wednesday and we've hit midweek and so my energy levels are not great, I thought today we would talk about my spinning wheels, just because that would be like a really low impact, really easy thing for me to chit chat about before I go to work. We are heading into that midweek slump where I'm like, okay, I'm ready for the week to be over. I'm not like super fatigued, but I'm also like counting down the days till Friday. And so we'll chit chat about something easy and lovely. I'm going to put my hair up because there's just a lot of it. We're going to chit chat about something easy and lovely, like introducing you to my flock of wheels and how I got all of them. But first, let's open up day 4. Cue the present dance. Oh, there's a little ornament. There was a little ornament on this one. Okay. So let's see what we got. So far, we've spun Targi, Pineapple, Polworth, Silk, and BFL. So I'd be really interested to see what's in this one. Oh, it's another fun pastel. Okay. And this is, oh, Polworth. I love spinning Polworth. Polworth and Targi are my favorite fine wools. I feel like the universe is being extra kind to me because I haven't gotten any Rambouillet yet. And I don't know if that's going to stay that way, but I'm kind of enjoying it while it lasts because Rambouillet is not my jam. So here it is. It has like some fun pastel blue, and there's some pink, and there's some a little bit of purple that came out to join you. It feels like honestly, I'm really glad that I'm spinning this as a fractal because it feels like all these colorways. I mean, I was pretty sure all these colorways were going to go together somehow because Jen, you know, is very good at her job. So I was pretty sure these colorways were going to go together somehow, but this fractal situation feels great. So I've split it in half. This is the last colorway that's going to go on the 2 bobbin of my 1, 2, 4 fractal. So by the next time we hang out together, I'll have a brand new bobbin. But we're going to go to my Lendrum, which we're friends now. I had to do, this is another, because this wheel is secondhand. We're going to talk about it. Never mind. We're going to talk about it as I spin. So we're going to switch views. Okay. And we're off. So we're going to talk about my flock of spinning wheels. I never thought I would be the person to have a spinning wheel, let alone more than one. But that just shows you how much you don't know what you don't know until you get started. So I shared a little bit about my first spinning wheel in episode 1 of the podcast, but my first spinning wheel was a Spinolution Bullfrog. She's still with me. She's just currently in timeout. My first spinning wheel is a Spinolution Bullfrog. Her name is Meadow. And I don't know why I picked the name Meadow, but when I got her and I opened her out the box and I set her all up, I was like, yep, that's your name now. You're my Meadow. She is the wheel that they market the Bullfrog as being able to spin art yarn and lace. And I definitely feel that way. We're Goldilocks tensioning this because every time I take the bobbin off, I have to like mess with the tension. So it takes me a while to get the tension back to where I like it. Here we go. We're good. We're sailing. She is designed to spin art yarn and lace. So she has 5 whirls and she goes from a 6-to-1 all the way to an 18-to-1. So like a 6-to-1 for spinning your really fun, bulky art yarns. And then an 18-to-1 for spinning like fine singles. I don't know if I could spin lace at 18-to-1 because I naturally just draft really quickly and I would need a much higher speed treadle, or I would need to slow down tremendously to spin lace at 18-to-1. But I have spun 4-ply fingering yarns at 18 to, I guess they're lace weight singles. That does make sense. Never mind. I can spin lace weight singles. So I've spun lace weight singles. I spun 4-ply sock yarn. For a very long time, that was my only wheel, and it was all I spun on, and I made great yarn on it. Meadow and I figured out each other really well. That wheel, is this too high or too low? I can't figure out what's going on here. That wheel comes with nope, it was too low. That wheel, you guys, hold on. Goldilocksing it, which is really important to me because I will have a hard time spinning if I don't get my tension right. And I'll just make pigtails if I don't get my tension right. Okay, so that wheel comes with an 18-ounce flyer, which is one of the things that really attracted me to that particular wheel. I knew before I even started spinning that I wanted bigger bobbins. So that wheel does come with a 16-ounce flyer, but I learned very early on that I did not enjoy spinning on the 16-ounce bobbins. So I bought a full set of 8-ounce bobbins. I have 8 bobbins for that wheel. Because I like to spin a bunch of things at the same time, and sometimes I get bored with the project, and so I take it off the wheel and then I just switch to a different bobbin, start a different project, and then when I'm ready to finish that, I have lots of spinning works in progress. One of these days we will talk about it, especially now that I'm spinning these huge fleece projects. I have a lot more spinning works in progress. So I have 8-ounce bobbins for that wheel, and not all of my bobbins are from Spinolution because bobbins are expensive. A bunch of them are like 3D printed bobbins from a seller I found on Etsy, and they work great, even though they're not the wood bobbins from Spinolution. They work fine. So I have 8 of those, and I really like that wheel. It is very finicky for tension. It's a very different tension tension kind of wheel. A lot of the other spinning wheels, you have like with my Lendrum, you have a piece of like cotton cord, some sort of cord over the bobbin, and that's how you tension it. So you tighten the cord and you put more tension, you loosen the cord and you put less tension. And the Spinolution wheels, the tension system is internal. So I think it's some sort of magnet. I don't understand how it works. I think it's some sort of magnet, but you don't see the tension. So you tighten a knob, but you have no idea what you're really doing because I think it's like a spring or a magnet or something. It's on the inside of the wheel. And so the tension can be really finicky on that wheel. But on the bright side, you don't need to adjust your tension to take a bobbin off. Like with any other wheel, if your tension cord goes over your bobbin, then to change your bobbin, you have to take the tension cord off. Because the tension on the Spinolution wheels is internal, you don't have to take that. You don't have to change your tension. So every time you change your bobbin, your tension stays the same. So that's the upside because my tension tends to be pretty uniform. If I'm spinning a worsted draft, my tension tends to be pretty uniform. If I'm spinning a woolen draft, my tension tends to be pretty uniform. So I can set my tension and then I really don't change it at all. The only time I change it is if I go to ply. So all my singles are spun pretty much the same tension, and then when I go to ply, I change it and I raise the tension. Or if I'm like chain plying, then I definitely raise the tension. But it is a very finicky system, and it did take me some time. This is spinning a little bit thicker than I would have liked, so I'm actually going to drop a whirl and raise that a little bit so I get a bit thinner singles. Let's see how that goes. Okay, that's much better. It was spinning a little bit thicker than I remember any of my other single spinning, but I was on the wrong whirl. I was supposed to be spinning this at 17 to 1, and I had it at 15 to 1, and I realized very quickly that my singles weren't the same. Yes, so I love that wheel. I love those bobbins. It is so nice to be able to spin, spin, spin. I like big spinning projects. Like, I do big 12-ounce combo spins. I do my big fleece projects, and it's very nice to not have to worry about changing bobbins all the time like you would with a 4-ounce bobbin. And then also, because it's an 8-ounce bobbin, I don't have to change my like pegs as often because there's a lot of space to fill up. So it's a good workhorse wheel. There are definitely some cons to that wheel, and the biggest con I find is that a lot of people just don't have it. And so when you have a wheel that a lot of people have and you run into an issue with said wheel, there's a lot of people you can crowdsource. Like, you can crowdsource the hive mind and say, hey, I'm having this particular issue with my wheel, and chances are other people have had that issue and can help you. But I don't know if Spinolution is just still newer on the market, or people just, you know, go for the classics. But there aren't a lot of people I see, like even when I search the Spinolution Bullfrog hashtag, there aren't a lot of people that I see that have that particular wheel. So when I have some issues with it, I either have to like figure it out myself, or then I have to make time to call the company out west and hope that I can describe to them over the phone what's going on with my wheel so that they can help me tighten it up. And so that is my biggest quibble with it. And it has nothing to do with the wheel. I just wish it was more popular. I wish more people had it. I don't know. It would be nice to have a hive mind to help me figure out wheel issues, because wheel issues do come up. You're never going to have a wheel that's going to be perfect all the time. Something's going to happen and you're going to need a little bit of help. And it would just be nice if that was available. But I will say the Spinolution customer service team's impeccable. So there is that. I don't always like calling people on the phone. Sometimes I just want to like go to like a Ravelry group and just be like, hey, this thing's happening, and have like 20 people instantly give me the answer. So that was my first wheel. My second spinner was the is an electric eel wheel nano. And I never use that. I'm actually in the process of rehoming it. So I'm trying to figure out who in my family is interested in spinning. Because whoever in my family is interested in spinning is going to get an e-spinner, and a bunch of fiber for Christmas, because I never reach for it. But that was my first e-spinner. It is a great little machine. I have the Nano 1.1. So Maurice just released the Nano 2, which has like a bunch of improvements from the original Nano. But the original Nano is great. It is a great e-spinner. I got an e-spinner because I wanted a travel situation, and I also wanted to be able to spin multiple projects and not have to constantly change bobbins. And the Nano was at a good price. So I got my Nano. It is a 2-ounce bobbin, so it is a very, very big change from my big 8-ounce bobbins that I was used to. But it is a great e-spinner, honestly. And if you're just starting out and you want to learn how to spin, but spindling isn't for you, and the cost of a wheel might be cost prohibitive, I highly recommend looking at the electric eel wheel nano. I think full price right now, they're maybe $100 US. Yes, I'm pretty sure full price, they're about $100 US. They come with multiple 2-ounce bobbins. You can spin anywhere from bulky to lace on them. I mean, bulky yarn, you're not going to fit much yarn on a 2-ounce bobbin, like, let's be honest. But it does have the speed settings that you can spin bulky to lace, and it has your Z twist and your S twist, and everything's clearly labeled. It is a tiny machine. I don't even think it weighs a pound. It might weigh like half a pound, honestly. It's so small. But it is a great e-spinner. It's a very good introduction to spinning. Like, if you want to practice treadling, if you want to practice drafting, but you don't want to worry about having to like worry about your hands and your feet, because I think that's like a really hard part of spinning, is remembering you have to use your hands and your feet at the same time, and the rhythm has to match, and sometimes your hands get away from you or your feet get away from you. If you're just learning and you want to remove all that extra stuff, an e-spinner is a great way to go, and the Nano is at a great price, and it's a really good little spinner. I just don't reach for mine anymore because I have the big sister of of the EEW Nano. I didn't even name my Nano. That's how little I used it. I have an EEW 6, and her name is Foxtail. And I decided that I was going to name all of my spinning supplies after plants. So Meadow was first, and Foxtail is second. And Foxtail is the big sister version of the Electric Eel Wheel Nano. It is their full-size e-spinner, and it holds, I think, a 6-ounce bobbin, but I have packed on 8 ounces of fingering weight yarn on mine. I don't recommend that. I mean, why not? Who cares? It did fine. I packed 8 ounces of fingering weight yarn on mine, but I think they say it's a 6-ounce bobbin. I'm not sure how we figure out what bobbin size is. I think they look at like maybe worsted weight yarn, because whatever they say the bobbin size is, I can always fit more if I'm spinning really, really thin yarn. So maybe they do it for like a worsted or a DK weight. And they're like, if you're at 11 wraps per inch, you can probably get 4 ounces on this bobbin. And then obviously if you're spinning bulky, you'll get less. And if you're spinning fingering, you'll get more. I don't know. I have to ask somebody. I'm sure there's like a rationale for how they set these sizes. But whatever have you, it's a 6-ounce bobbin, and it is a dream. I love that I can just haul it in bed and I can just go. Also, if I want to spin a super fine single and I want to spin fast, I reach for my e-spinner because I can only treadle so fast. When I spin on my treadle wheels, I'm limited by how fast I can treadle. Even if I put it on the fastest ratio there is, I can only treadle so fast comfortably, and then otherwise it stops being fun. Like then I'm like zooming against my wheel and what have you. So I can spin fine short forward singles on my wheel. I mean, I'm doing it right now. But if I really want to zoom through, there are definitely some process spins and there's some product spins. And there's some spins that I want done now because I want to knit them up. And if I want to do, or like when I spun the yarn for my hat, I wanted to get that done in a day. I didn't really have time to mess around. I wanted to get it done because I really wanted to cast on the hat over the weekend. So I had 2 days when I was carding the yarn and spinning the bat because I knew that I needed at least a day to wash and dry before I could start knitting the hat. When I want to zoom through a project, I reach for my e-spinner because it can go so much faster than my feet ever can. Like, that's just the reality of the situation. It has a little motor in it. It goes very fast. It goes from a 1 to 6, and I have never spun with it above a 4 because anything above a 4 is just too fast for me, and I naturally draft pretty quickly and I spin pretty fine. But anything above a 4 and I feel like I'm wrestling the spinner and I might be putting too much twist in my singles, so my sweet spot is between a 3 and a 4. It is a great machine. I've had people compare it to like the dataless spinners as far as like motor. I mean, obviously it's not going to be as like cosmetically appealing as the dataless spinners, but it is also a third to a quarter of the price of a dataless e-spinner. I used to really want one of those, and then I got my EEW 6, and I'm quite happy with that. If I got a dataless, it would literally just be because I wanted the aesthetics of it. I don't think it is a better spinner. And when you ply on that thing, you can just go. Like, you set that up top speed and then you just go, because normally when you ply, you want to make sure you build up a certain amount of twist in your plied yarn. And so like I ply, I treadle, and then put the yarn on the bobbin. But with the e-spinner, I don't have to do that because it's just so fast. So I can speed through applying. Now again, speed might not always be your aim, but there are definitely a few times where I just wanted a project to be done. Like, I either was over it and I wanted to move on and start something new, or I needed the finished spin. And both of those are great reasons to want to zoom through a project. Or maybe you're just in like a spinning binge and you want to get done. When I did my 1-day sock yarn bender, I did that whole thing on my e-spinner. So I spun my singles and chain plied and everything on my e-spinner, and I knew there was no way I would have been able to do it as fast on my treadle wheels. There's also the besides the speed factor, there's just the portability of it. Like I said, I can spin in bed. So at the end of the day, if I want to do something with my hands, but I don't feel like sitting upright at my treadle wheels, I just haul my e-spinner in bed. I wrap a little bit of fiber around my wrist so I have a little bit of a nestlet to spin, and I spin. It is not, I mean, it's not quiet. None of these machines are quiet. They're all going to have background noise, but it is not so loud that it would interrupt watching TV. we turn the TV up a little bit and you can't hear it over the spinner at all. And it does have a little, the spinner itself comes with a little compartment for you to put a battery in it. So you can get like a USB rechargeable battery pack. I just gotta see what my bobbin looks like. You can get a rechargeable USB battery pack. You can pop that in there and then you can spin on the go. I've taken my spinner on road trips and I've spun in the car, spun in the park, spun at my sister's house. I literally just take it everywhere. I have a little train case that I pop my spinner in so it doesn't get like banged around while you're traveling. It is a great machine and I recommend it for the same reasons I recommend the Nano. Not as expensive as a wheel. Don't have to worry about treadling. It's travel friendly and it is a great way to learn how to spin. The motor in it is better than the Nano because it's, you know, a bigger and a more expensive machine. So it can spin faster, but they're both great e-spinners. I highly recommend them. Maurice is and he's also really attentive. And the Dreaming Robots has a very robust Ravelry community. So if you're running into any sort of trouble with your e-spinner, chances are someone else has already run into that trouble and has posted some solutions for it. So I think I've only had 2 issues with mine. And both times I went to the Ravelry group and someone was able to solve it pretty quickly and pretty effectively. So that's one of the things that I miss about my Bullfrog, is just being able to source the hive mind whenever I have a problem. But highly, highly recommend it. And we're getting down to my last spinning device, which is the one that I'm spinning on right now. This is a Lendrum DT. She is my first second-hand wheel, and her name is Laurel. For a bit of a story, I decided for my birthday this year that I really wanted a second treadle wheel. As much as I enjoy having my e-spinner, I don't enjoy spinning long draw on it for a long amount of time. I can do it. I've done it multiple times for like a 4 or 5 ounce project, but I don't know if it's just, I think for long draw for me, long draw is so much about being in my body and the rhythms of the treadle and everything else that I miss that when I spin long draw on my e-spinner in a way that short forward is not. Like when I spin short forward, I kind of just check out because it's just, I don't know. It's repetitive, it's monotonous, it is what it is. And long draw doesn't feel that way for me. And that's just like a personal, listen, everybody's on their own spinning journey. That's just a personal journey of a personal facet of mine. But when I spin long draw, I prefer to spin long draw on my wheels. And I wanted a second wheel so that I could spin long draw on, you know, more effectively. And I also wanted a second wheel with higher ratios. So my Bullfrog taps out at 18:1. And I knew I wanted something a little bit faster. So I was eyeing either a shacked wheel or the Lendrum. And I went on the Ravelry Spinners Marketplace and I found a Lendrum. It was not as close to home as I thought it was, but it was pretty close to home, and it was at a great price, and it was it was the solid package. So it came with the plying head, the normal flyer, the very fast flyer, and I just had to go get it. So I sent the lovely lady who was interested in rehoming her wheel a message, and she was rehoming her wheel because she found a matchless secondhand, which is just a great story. She found a matchless secondhand, so she decided to rehome her Lendrum. She was the first owner. She sent me pictures of it spinning, sent me video of it spinning, sent me pictures of yarn that she had made on it, and it was in great condition. So we drove all the way to the wilds of Pennsylvania, and I got my Lendrum. And I was a little bit worried about it because, again, this is my first wheel that was secondhand. Everything else I had bought new, so I was the first owner. I knew that any idiosyncrasies would be like straight out the box, whereas when you get something secondhand, depending on how the person before you has taken care of it, you might run into a few issues. And there were definitely a few issues with my Lendrum when I got it. The right treadle was so squeaky, I was losing my mind. And then it had a little bit of like a tick-tock to it. It doesn't do that anymore, but when I would spin, it would just go tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. So I could only spin with headphones on for a while because it was making me a little bit crazy, and I'm sure it was making Joshua a little bit crazy. But again, Lendrum has a very robust Ravelry community. There's a Ravelry group called the Cult of Lendrum, and it's just people talking about their wheels and like the hive mind solving problems. And so I spoke to Rachel at Woolen Spinning about some of my issues, and she gave me some tips because she also has a Lendrum. And then I spoke to 2 other people about my issues, and I don't know if you can hear it, no chatter. It's just the background hum is just the drive wheel spinning over and over. But we have solved all my problems, and it is, you guys, this wheel, it's the dream wheel, honestly. I mean, I love my Bullfrog, but if I had gotten this first, I might not have gotten anything else. So listen, the downside is it is a 4-ounce bobbin, and when you're used to working with 8-ounce bobbins, a 4-ounce bobbin is a bit of an adjustment, but it's not like so much of an adjustment that I can't handle it. I just bought a bunch of bobbins. I now have 9 bobbins for this wheel because I like to do big projects, and I don't have storage bobbins just yet. Like, I can't figure out a storage bobbin system that I love. I have a storage bobbin system. I don't love it. So I almost never reach for it unless I absolutely really want a worsted yarn. Then I will rewind my singles before plying. But for the most part, I'm not so invested in having a perfectly worsted yarn, so I don't rewind all of my singles. But, so I have a bunch of bobbins is what I was saying. But this wheel is the dream. It has multiple flyers. One of these days I'm going to get the lace flyer, and once I get the lace flyer, I'll be able to spin 42 to 1, which is what I really wanted. I really wanted, you know, a faster treadle. I mean, a faster ratio. But I have 0 complaints about it. It is as good as people say it is. It is, like, people talk about this wheel for a reason. It is a great wheel. The tension system is super responsive, and I don't know if it's just because the bobbins are smaller. It is so easy to spin long draw on this. Like, I can just spin for hours. And then on top of it, the orifice height on this is higher than the orifice height on my Bullfrog. And I'm a tall girl. I'm 6 feet tall. So that orifice height difference is amazing. Oh, I will say the one thing I don't enjoy is having to use an orifice hook because I don't have to use one for my Bullfrog. And I'm still a little bit clumsy because I'm not used to doing it. Oh, that bobbin's so pretty. I'm still a little bit clumsy when it comes to using an orifice hook because I'm not used to doing it. But it's just, I have 0 complaints about this wheel. It's beautiful. I'm so happy she's mine. I'm so happy I waited for her. I don't know. It just felt like she came into my life right at the right time. And now we're going to be best friends for a very long time. So, you guys, that is my flock of spinning wheels and how I acquired them, my thoughts, my stories, all the other things you come for. This is day 4 of Vlogmas, and I'm actually really enjoying just kind of sitting and chit-chatting as I work through my spins. I love the way this advent is spinning up so far. I mean, of the 4 days I've spun, they look really cohesive, so I think it's going to make a really pretty yarn. And so I have a few more minutes before I have to get ready to leave for work. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to finish my single. Well, I don't have time to finish my whole single. I'm going to sit here and finish the little bit. This is all I have left. So I'm going to finish the half that I have in my hand. And then I'm going to get ready for work. And I will see you guys for day 5. I will link I'll put a card with the Vlogmas playlist. So if you just want some background. I think today's video is going to be much quieter because my Bullfrog has been very angry at me for a few days. And then I tried to fix it, and Joshua tried to fix it, and his tried to fix it involved a hammer and breaking stuff. So I gotta wait for replacement parts. But I honestly think this was quieter than spinning on my Bullfrog has been the last few days. So you guys let me know if it is quieter, or if it's louder, or if it's just a different kind of noise. And again, I'll link the playlist for the rest of Vlogmas. So happy December. I hope you guys have a magical Wednesday or whatever day you're watching this. And I will see you for day 5.